Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky and I'm joined as always by the man who has just committed a hate crime by posting a photo of Lord Charles on the Facebook page of Nigel Farage and calling him a stupid bitch. It's Greg. Happy New Year, buddy. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Really glad that the first week back is at an end. It's always an adjustment. The first week back, isn't it? And normally, I normally quite like January vibes. You know what I mean? The kind of reset of a new year. You know what I mean? You've got your new notebook for work and all that sort of stuff. Your new calendar up. But last week was just a fucking cunt, and I'm glad to see the back of it. I did go and see. My wife and I last week went to see the new Avatar film. So we did.
Okay.
3 hours 20 minutes.
And is this the third one? I've never seen
Avatar
any
3.
of the Avatar films.
Well,
Avatar 3. Okay.
Yeah, so the first one came out in 2010, and I remember my wife and I going to see it, and we watched it in 3D. Remember there was a bit of a fad for a while. Well, you were probably in Dubai at the time. I don't know if they were doing it here, but there was a bit
they were.
A bit of a fad for like 3D. I remember taking my daughter to see Wreck-It Ralph in 3D and all this sort of stuff. And Avatar was in 3D, and so I watched it. We watched it at the cinema. Really enjoyed it. And then when it came out on DVD, we bought it to watch it again. And obviously we didn't, well, I don't know if it is obvious, but we didn't have a 3D television. So we were just sort of watching it normally. And I thought to myself, this is Dances with Wolves. I mean, the plot is Dances with Wolves. Exactly.
Okay.
So the plot of Avatar is a soldier who has been paralysed in the act of, in an act of duty in combat, gets a chance to become an avatar, like a basically control a living creature to sort of infiltrate and try and connect with the native people on this alien planet, right?
Okay.
And then he basically, spoilers, it goes native, basically, and ends up fighting the humans in the army who are trying to take away the native people's homes and where they live and stuff. Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner is an infantryman who gets injured. He is sent to the frontier on his own ahead of the rest of his soldier people to start setting up for whatever. Befriends gets involved with the Native Americans, falls in love with their culture, falls in love with one of their ladies, and ends up fighting the American army at the end, who are trying to take away the Native Americans. It's exactly the same, and I can't believe that nobody has ever, and nobody else, well, I've never seen anybody else make that comparison. So anyway, Avatar 2 and Avatar 3 it's just like more of the same. Pretty much the same movies, Avatar 2 and 3, but James Cameron is just indulging himself in the third one especially.
Yeah, you put a very compelling case forward. Like I say, I've never seen the Avatar films. I don't even know anything about them. I just knew it was blue people. I thought they were underwater or something, and I've no desire to see that. But yeah, it does. You do make a compelling case that they do sound very similar.
Yeah.
I guess James Cameron's just, he's got enough money now. It's just his passion project. He can just piss about and do what he wants. But kind of wish he'd go back to making decent films. But,
yeah.
Oh well.
I mean, I don't know if you listen to the Three Bean Salad podcast, but those guys that they released an emergency episode last week, which is a review of Avatar 3, and it's very, very, very funny. Those guys are really funny. I mean, they really are, honestly. But yeah, it's really good.
Okay, so would you recommend Avatar 3?
I mean, it's long. It's a long film. I did fall asleep in the middle because we paid for the kind of premium experience at the cinema, so we had reclining seats and blankets and people bringing us food and drink and stuff, and I was quite comfortable. The film kind of tailed off a bit in the middle, and I slept for about 15 or 20 minutes. So I think if you liked the other Avatar films, you'll probably like this one. That's probably these. My wife loved it. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just having a look at the cast list to see if there was anyone Scottish in it, just in case Matt Costello popped up, or Gavin Mitchell, or
how would you know?
Tam Cowan or something.
Yeah.
But It doesn't appear that there's anyone Scottish in it, so
No.
we can't be doing it on the podcast then.
Jermaine Clement pops up in it from the Flight of the Conchords, and Edie Falco from The Sopranos is in it. She plays like a colonel or a general or somebody high up in the army. And Kate Winslet's in it, but she's a blue person. She's like a motion capture blue person. So, and she's doing like an accent. So it's fucking. I had no idea she was in it until I saw her name in the credits. I was like, who the fuck does she play? I had to have a look at my phone on the way home. And yeah, that guy Sam Worthington, who looked like he was going to be a big star for a minute until he was in the first Avatar film, and I think basically has only been in Avatar films for the last 15 years.
Oh, well, there's a warning for any actors. If you want to make it big, don't go blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, a glowing recommendation then there for Avatar 3. Wonderful.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush to see it unless you're a big Avatar fan. I mean, it's at this point, when this goes out, this is going to go out at the end of January. It's probably not even still in the cinema. But when this goes out, because it's been out since December. Mid-December it came out, so.
Oh, well, never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Right. Well, obviously, we've been away for a little bit. We had a Best of the News episode on the last episode. But yeah, we've been off since we did Billy and Albert at the end of December. So I guess, shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland whilst we've been away, Greg?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg. What have you seen in the news over the last few weeks that you'd like to share with me and our lovely listeners?
Okay, so this first story that some people might not think this is particularly funny, and I do apologise, because there's a young guy who was talked into smuggling some drugs from Thailand to Scotland. He went through Qatar, he was huckled, and he's currently in a Qatari prison. Glasgow Live have done a story where the boy's mum is asking the UK government to help get her boy out of jail in Qatar, right? Now, the boy's name is Lino, not Lionel, Lino, Lino, it's his first name, and his second name is Neil.
Lino Neil.
Lino Neil was his name, right?
Like you kneel on a lino.
So, the Glasgow Live community have outdone themselves with some of the comments here. So Stuart McNeil writes, his older brother Parkett launched a GoFundMe for his legal defence and was floored by the response. His little brother Liam said he was absolutely floored that the authorities didn't want to brush this under the carpet. Where else? Oh, they're taking some of the comments away. Most of the comments are people not having any sympathy for him. All the funny ones that were here before have taken away. Oh, he'll get carpeted over there, someone said. What a Lino messy situation to be in.
So what? He's got into a bit of bother smuggling drugs, and then they just I guess he's looking at a bit of a lengthy custodial time there.
I mean, you don't want to end up in jail anywhere in the Middle East. No. I know somebody who did a night in jail here in Dubai, and it sounds absolutely horrendous. But yeah, basically, I'll give you the background. So this kid's Lino. He's 18 years old. He's accused of trafficking cannabis. Apparently he's a champion angler.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, he was away on holiday. He was away celebrating his birthday in Thailand with his girlfriend. Someone's persuaded him to carry some drugs back to Scotland with him, and he's fallen afoul of the Qatari government, unfortunately. But I'm sure, well, I don't know. I was going to say I'm sure it will be fine, but I've actually fucking no idea. Might not be. Might not be fine. Might never be fine ever again.
So has anyone asked you to carry something abroad with you, or not like sinisterly, but do you ever think if someone's like, oh, could you take this across to, so-and-so? Do you think, I wonder if there's half a kilo of heroin in this?
Yeah, I mean, no one's ever asked me if people have been coming here and it's been something that we've wanted from the UK, like I've had it delivered to their house, and so I'm assuming that those people, even though I'm sure that they know that I would never, that I wouldn't be using them to mule drugs for myself into Dubai. But, you know, I'm sure bit of due diligence. So just have a little check of the packaging anyway. I think I got our mutual friend to bring a load of stuff with them, including like some Transformers that I bought from eBay. Paula had ordered a load of vitamins that you can't get here. Got them sent to his house. And I think he was he was like, oh, what should I do with these? And I was like, just stick them in your check luggage, it'll be fine. Because like you've got, I mean, you know, they're clearly vitamins, it's labelled and everything. Yeah. And they're sealed as well. So but yeah, no one's ever asked me no one's ever approached me and said, "Oh, do you think you could take this bag because, you know, we're over our allowance?" Or I would tell them to fuck right all the way off if they did.
Yeah, of course you would. Sure. Like, it's not something. Yeah, I've never had that either. I have to admit, I was a little bit not worried, but it crossed my mind when I was coming out to Dubai at Christmas because
my 3 empty cans of Tennent's in your luggage.
Well, that was fine. I knew that would be okay. I was only worried about them getting damaged. That's right. I got Greg 3 lager lovelies for his Christmas. And you got me a lovely Tennent's thing, which is there, ready to be put up. I just need to... I was speaking to my girlfriend yesterday and I was like, can I put this here or I'm going to have to move Mr. T along? I'm an I and put that there. And she's like, yeah. So I need to go and get some polyfiller. But that will be getting put up tomorrow. But my niece, she is doing a lot of like bodybuilding and stuff. And there's a certain protein powder that she can't get that she loves. So I bought like 2 big tubs of it to take over. So I guess I was a little bit worried about having all this fucking powder in my bag. But it was sealed and it was in the tubs and it was all okay. And I mean, I didn't get stopped anyway, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But you just never know.
Do you remember an advert that was on, it might have been on in the late 80s or early 90s, and it was either for Daz or Persil, one of the big laundry detergent brands. And it was a guy going on holiday with his pals and having his luggage checked, and his mum had given him like a bag of Persil to take.
Yes, I do remember that.
I just remember because it's all about how his shirt's really white and everything, his clothes are really crispy white and stuff, and I just think the last shot, I think, is the kind of airport security guard holding up this plastic bag of white powder. The guy saying, oh, that's just my Daz or my Persil, whatever, my mum puts it in there so I can keep my clothes clean on holiday. You wouldn't get an advert like that now, would you?
Of course, famously, when you're going on a lad's holiday, you do your laundry, don't you?
Yeah.
And take your washing powder with you. No, I don't think you would get an advert like that nowadays. Definitely not. It was a different time in terms of that. So... well, I'm glad to hear that the good people at Glasgow Live have been making the comments funny about this poor guy's plight as he's staring down the barrel of a lengthy jail sentence in a Middle Eastern prison.
I know, fucking hell. Well, good luck to poor old Lionel. I hope his mum can get him deported back to, or repatriated back to Scotland to face some Scottish justice, which will feel like a tickle under the chin after sharing a cell with 50 Indian and Asian guys and sleeping on the floor. Fucking Qatar, Doha jail.
He'll have his widescreen TV and his PlayStation 6 in his cell, Greg, and yeah, he'll be all the comforts when he comes back to Scotland.
But did you know something, actually? I saw recently, maybe it was in the news or something, but they were showing the inside of a cell in a Scottish jail, and it's like a cell for one guy. It's got a telly, had a PlayStation, it's got a little speaker, and we had a few books and a bookshelf on the wall. And I thought, not bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just wouldn't mind going there just for a bit of fucking peace and quiet for a couple of weeks. You know what I mean?
You get 3 square meals a day. You get to use the gym.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I can learn a trade if I want. You know?
Yeah. You'll learn how to file a toothbrush into a sharp blade. Yeah,
exactly. Anyway, that's poor old Lino. What's your first story for 2026?
Well, I'm cheating slightly, Greg, because this story comes from December 2025. I saw it when I was away, but I couldn't not cover this because it's just too fucking good. So this is from December 2025, and it's from Glasgow Live. And the headline reads, Lanarkshire man caught using sex toy in car, found sweating after fleeing from cops. A man raced off from police officers after he was caught using a sex toy in the back of a car. Mehboob Mohammed, 53, was initially spotted by witnesses in Glasgow's Castlemilk in August the 23rd. Married dad Mohammed was found half naked with his phone propped up as he committed a sex act on himself. He was reported to police, who later found him in a state of panic. He went on to drive at excessive speeds, go on the wrong side of the road, and went through a red light as officers pursued him to East Kilbride. Mohammed pleaded guilty today at Glasgow Sheriff Court to a charge of public indecency. He also admitted assaulting 2 police officers, dangerous driving, and failing to appear at a court hearing. The court heard that witnesses' attention was drawn to Mohammed's Honda Civic vehicle on a residential street. He was noted to be in the back seat carrying out a sex act with a toy. Prosecutor Kyle Dizel said, one witness approached the car to see that Mohammed had no trousers, socks or shoes on, with his phone propped up as if he was watching something. Mohammed said, I'm waiting for a friend. The witness replied, get out your car, you beastie bastard. I'm taking a picture of your registration. Mohammed shouted, no, and put his trousers back on and got into the front seat and drove off. Police were contacted and traced Mohammed in his car, who was profusely sweating. He refused to open his car door to officers and claimed that he wanted to go home. Mohammed continued to refuse to comply and drove towards 2 officers who had to take evasive action. Blue lights and sirens were activated whilst Mohammed continued to drive at excessive speeds. He also manoeuvred through bends without due care or attention and entered the wrong side of the road. Mr. Dial added, he struck a motor vehicle which caused damage and continued on the road. The police stop tactic was eventually carried out on Mohammed in East Kilbride, where he was arrested. Greg Cunningham, defending, told the court, he's in employment and lives in a stable address with his wife and adult son. Sentence was deferred pending background reports until next month by Sheriff Fiona Gilgroy, who granted Mohammed of East Kilbride bail in meantime.
Wow.
So, poor Mohammed was just having a bit of fun in the back seat of his car with a dildo by the sounds of things. And he gets called. I just love that. Get out your car, you beastie bastard.
So do you think he was sticking a dildo up his arse?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say that explicitly, but it says he was in the back seat of a car with his trousers, socks and shoes off, and it said he was performing a sex act on himself with a sex toy. Now, either he had a fleshlight, or I'm led to think that he was, yeah.
What's a fleshlight again?
A flashlight is it's something that looks like a torch, but when you unscrew the top and screw it on the other way, it resembles it's a latex vagina.
Okay.
Or a mouth. They came out with mouths later on, and you could get them with vampire teeth and stuff if you were that way inclined. But there was even a run, like you could get like a Jenna Jameson fleshlight, which was molded exactly like her vagina, for example. I know too much about this. I've never owned one. I can honestly say I've never owned one. But I believe they are. They were a popular sex aid for men, but I don't know if they're still the way. I just put 2 bits of liver in a jam jar. That seems to do the job.
Only 2 massive bits of liver.
Yeah, 2 massive chunks of liver. I guess that's what Mohammed was doing. But I just love the reaction to being seen and get out of the car, you beastie bastard. No, like, I'm calling the cops. No, just run away or walk away. No, you have to confront the man who, in his Honda Civic, is just trying to have a good time.
It's just how he's completely committed to it. You know what I mean? He's taking his trousers and his socks off. You know what I mean? And he's like if he's going to do it, he's going to do it 100%. You know, that's why he didn't book himself a hotel room or something like that.
You're right, I never thought about that. He has gone all in and committed to this cause. It just says that, he was watching something on his phone, so I'd love to, well, I don't know if I'd love to know what he was watching, but I'm intrigued as to what he was watching. I'm sure he wasn't watching Match of the Day.
We can probably figure it out.
Yeah.
I would
imagine so.
It probably had the prefix Desi, whatever it was watching. DSI. And that's I hear that's one of the categories on these websites.
I've no idea.
For
DSI?
Desi. It's spelled DSI for women, for people who like, I guess, Asian ladies. Well, Indian Asian ladies, not like Japanese or Chinese ladies.
Okay.
Yeah, because the thing is, because where I play paddle,
Here we go.
There's a restaurant down the stairs from it downstairs in the building, and it's called it's like a restaurant or a food shop or something, and it's called Desi something. So it's like an Indian food shop. Okay. And every time I see it, I immediately think of Desi being one of the categories on like Pornhub. I hear.
It's news to me, Greg. I had no idea about this, so, and I'm just enjoying watching you squirm a little bit about going in depth into this. Is this why you were asking me this week which VPN I use?
I've got a VPN.
Yes, I think NordVPN. Yes, you can connect to Bombay, Greg, so you'll be all right.
It's probably blocked in Bombay. So it is. Oh, well, you know. I think he could have perhaps taken a bit more care there, Mohammed. But
he could.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, so we will see. I'll have to have a look and see if there's been any update on Mehboob Mohammed's case. But 53, you'd think he'd be past that, but who knows? Never know. Well, it takes all sorts, I guess.
I'm going to be 48 this year. You know what I mean? So it's only 5 years older than me.
Yeah, that's true, and you're still into the Desi stuff. So yeah, maybe.
I'm still into. Yeah, I'm still into public sex acts in the back of my car.
Never mind. Okay, what else have you seen this week, buddy?
Well, a very similar story. So, if this is the first time that you're listening to the Culture Swally, about in the early days of the podcast, we kind of hit a fairly rich seam of people, usually guys, in fact, I think always guys, either sort of masturbating or committing sex acts on themselves in public. And it seemed like every couple of episodes we had one, but we hadn't had very many of late. And this episode, I'm about to give you another one. So again, 2 such stories this week. So this is a Just Eat delivery driver who performed a sex act in a car when delivering McDonald's to some teenage girls. This is another Mohammed, Mohammed Sajawal, who's 31. He's been put on the sex offenders register. The article reads, a Just Eat delivery driver was caught performing a sex act as horrified customers waited for their food. Mohammed Sajawal, 31, had been dispatched with a McDonald's order for 3 women in Bellshill in Lanarkshire, but they were left sickened after spotting Sajawal performing a sex act while holding a mobile phone, and reported the incident, which was back in October 2024, to the police. Sajawal of Motherwell claimed he had been using a vape, but he was convicted of public indecency after a trial at Hamilton Sheriff Court. In evidence, a 16-year-old girl said, I could see my driver and my bag of food right next to him, and I could see him on FaceTime to someone, and I could see his hand on his privates. It made me feel quite sick to my stomach. Sajawal told the court he had moved from Pakistan to Scotland to study and had worked with Just Eat for 6 months before the incident. He claimed he had been on a video call to his family and had only been playing with his vape. He said, I was unaware that the girls were watching me. During the time I was there to deliver the food, I was on a call with my father. The vape was in my hand, and it's just a habit that I play with my vape, so I keep moving it in my hand. They must have misunderstood the movement. The Deputy Fiscal Daniel Toner told the court all three Crown witnesses gave their evidence in a straightforward, credible and reliable manner and did not seek to embellish the incident, although they were clearly distressed by it. Maura Kiernan, who was defending, said his position is he was playing with his vape and this has been a misunderstanding. Sheriff Shirley McKenna told Mohammed, the evidence from one of the girls was clear that your hand was between your legs and you were touching yourself. She explained that it made her feel sick to her stomach. The sentence was deferred until later this month, and Sajawal has had his bail continued, but he's been placed on the sex offenders register. A Just Eat spokesperson said this driver has been removed from our network. So yeah, just playing with his vape.
What? Do you believe him? Do you think he was just playing with his vape?
Do you know something? Part of me does give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? He's an Asian guy in Bells Hill delivering McDonald's. You know, part of me thinks that maybe there has been a misunderstanding and there's maybe a little bit of, you know, brown person in a car must be having a wank, not delivering my chicken nuggets. Yeah,
when you were telling me this story, I was like, I think maybe he was playing with his vape. Like, it does seem like an action you would do, especially if he's got one hand on his phone, FaceTiming, and they must have been close that they could tell he was FaceTiming someone rather than watching a video or something. It could have been watching a reel on Instagram or something. But the fact that they could say he was FaceTiming and he says he was FaceTiming his family, I could totally see that action of just playing with a vape and just, and I guess it probably does look like, you know, like one here that kind of looks, you know, like and if I was playing with that, I mean, obviously I'm holding up a green vape. I could look like the Incredible Hulk, but
have you got your trousers and socks off there?
No, I don't. I thankfully am fully clothed. But yeah, I think that's I don't know. I think he's a bit hard done by here. I'm kind of erring on the side of believing him.
Yeah, I'm erring a bit towards the old charitable assumption as well, to be honest. But you know, it's not for us to litigate. It's already been litigated. So yeah, I think he'll have to watch what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. Oh well, poor Mohammed. We'll see whatever happens with him.
Yeah, two Mohammeds that have made a cunt of it this week in the news. Anyway, are you going to make it 3 masturbating in public stories? What's your next story this week?
No, Greg. I am going to Aberdeen in my next story, and there is no masturbation involved, thankfully. This is from this week, and it's from the Scottish Sun, and it does seem that there's been I was trying to think, it wasn't last year, it was the year before that we had the Wonka experience.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was 2 years ago. It does seem that people just jump on that trend and it's kind of the thing now. So, this is from the Scottish Sun, and the headline is K-flop. Furious Scots... It could be masturbating, actually, K-flop. Furious Scots parents demand refunds for awful K-pop tribute show which left kids close to tears. K-pop Crazy, the ultimate tribute show, was held at the Tivoli Theatre in Aberdeen on Saturday, January the 3rd. The family-friendly event is a tribute act to fan favourite groups including BTS, Blackpink, Cat's Eye, and the popular Netflix film K-pop Demon Hunters. I sound like such a fucking granddad reading out those names.
You do, yeah.
I have heard of BTS though. It promised to be a celebration of K-pop hits with audiences in for a night of dazzling choreography, stunning vocals, and jaw-dropping performances. And parents braved yellow and amber weather warnings for snow and ice to take excited youngsters to the sellout show. However, they slammed the show's organisers after being shocked at the poor performance and branded it awful and dire, claiming that dozens of people left less than halfway through the set. Theatregoers blasted the tribute show and said it had been falsely advertised and not worth the risk. Fucking risk. Of travelling in dangerous weather to see it. Fair enough, yeah. Many demanded refunds for the show after children were left gutted, which cost around £20, £21 to £23 per ticket. Speaking to the Press and Journal, Gran, Tracy Dixon, travelled in treacherous conditions from Elgin to Aberdeen for the show, but she said her 2 granddaughters, Hayley, 7, and Ellie May, 6, were close to tears after watching the dire performance. She said, "From the moment they went onto the stage, we all just looked at each other in shock. They were so disappointed. They both looked like they were going to start crying. My granddaughters bought outfits to go and were so excited, but it was just dire. They were gutted. It was awful." Tracy added, "There were a lot of empty seats because of the weather, and lots of people also walked out because it was so terrible. That show was not worth the risk of the journey in that weather. There were hundreds of disappointed kids." Others flocked to social media to share their frustration, with many commenting on a now deleted post on the Tivoli Theatre's Facebook page. One person wrote, "Extremely disappointed and honestly quite angry about this experience. The show was falsely advertised and bore very little resemblance to what was promoted." Shortly after K-pop's crazy show on Saturday, the Tivoli Theatre announced that the performance on Sunday had been cancelled due to unforeseen circumstances. A spokesperson told the P&J, "We're aware that there were issues with the show, and as such, all Saturday customers for K-pop Crazy have been contacted and informed they'll be issued a full refund." Oh, that's good. The show also has other performances planned, after already touring other venues in the UK, including several stops at the Whitehall Theatre in Dundee. However, managers told the Courier that K-pop Crazy had made significant changes to the show after facing backlash from the Aberdeen show. That include brand new costumes, vocal arrangements being redistributed, having scripted elements removed, and exploring the use of screen projectors. And bringing in a new director. Jesus, so they're just gutting the whole show, basically. Charming Entertainment, who produced and created the show, has been contacted for comment, but they haven't replied yet. So, kids disappointed by a K-pop show. Great, K-pop, is it still a big thing? I guess K-pop Demon Hunters kind of made it big again, but yeah, K-pop still...
I mean, thankfully,
as big as ever.
Thankfully, my daughters are too old. They have no interest in K-pop. I know that K-pop Demon Hunters with younger children is a big hit. Like, I know people with younger kids, and they say it's become the soundtrack to their lives, for better or worse. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not for us, K-pop. Like,
no,
we're not the people that they're trying to appeal to with their art. But I mean, I went to a tribute band sort of mini festival here in Dubai the year before last. So there was David Bowie, there was Elton John, there were the Beatles, Pink Floyd and Queen, and the guy, well, we didn't see the whole of, because the guy doing Bowie was on first and we were a little bit late arriving, so he was just finishing when we arrived, but he did not sound good from outside but the guy who did Elton John, I mean, I thought he was playing the piano, right? So he sounded like, you remember when Vic Reeves used to do In the Style of a Club Singer on Shooting Stars? Sounded it was a bit like that, you know. My gift is my song and this one's for you. But I thought, well, at least he's playing the piano, you know what I mean? But then he gets up from the piano. The music doesn't stop. And then he starts walking amongst, because the way it was set up, it was at Sports City, so it was all like kind of picnic tables all set up. That was the kind of seating situation.
Okay.
And he's standing on picnic tables, belting out his song and stuff. But the crucial difference was everybody was pissed. So it didn't matter. I don't imagine a lot of people are getting on it at a K-pop tribute concert.
Fucking hope not. That's for sure.
It might have made it a bit more. It might have made it a bit less disappointing, perhaps, if they were, you know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, well, you enjoyed that show. I'm trying to think if I've been. I have seen a couple of tribute acts. I remember. Yeah, I went in Dubai. I saw a Meatloaf tribute act. It was really good. Yeah, it was very good. But yeah, I don't think there's been many, actually, now I think about it. I'm not really a big fan of tribute acts. I know our mutual friend is.
And his lovely companion.
Yeah.
They go to see, and they've all got like names that are sort of inspired by a song of the band that they're imitating. So I think like Frankly the Smiths, because obviously they have Frankly Mr. Shankly, one of the Smiths' big hits. I think the Cure one is called Boys Don't Cry. But there was one that she told me, and I thought, I can't remember it now, but she told me the name of the band. I thought, well, that's quite clever. That's quite, I mean, I've completely forgotten who the band was.
Was it two pints and a packet of almonds?
No, but I told you, didn't I? The man himself is coming to Dubai along with Jason Donovan. Who else? The Cutting Crew. Loads of Robert Fripp is coming. I don't know if Toya. Oh no, Toya's coming, not Robert Fripp. Why would he come? For fuck's sake! Unless he's coming with Toya. Heaven 17 are going. Yeah, Nick Kershaw.
Fripp will be there to look after Toya and check she's not getting into any bother.
Make sure that her bike chain's oiled. Well, he might accompany her, right? He might, because he's a guitarist.
Probably.
What was it? What band was it? King Crimson, the band he was in, Robert Fripp?
I think it was, yeah. I think so. I think you're right.
Robert Fripp.
Never really listened to much of King Crimson.
No, it's progressive rock. So it's like Yes and early Genesis and all that shite.
Yeah.
It's fucking
not really
shite. Wishbone Ash and Jethro Tull and all. Fuck right off. I
always used to get Jethro Tull confused with the English comedian Jethro when I was younger.
The sweary racist comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jethro Tull.
A bit different, yeah. Yeah, I've never really been into prog rock or anything like that.
No, me neither. No. My stepdad is he's a fan. He's got like box sets. Because he used to be a member of the Britannia Music Club, so he used to. So he's got like a lot of CDs. He's like me. He's a hoarder. He never gets rid of anything. So he's got banks and banks of CDs, box sets of Yes and the Moody Blues and all those bands. Yeah,
I was laughing the other night. I was sitting watching a film with my girlfriend, and we were looking. I was like, I really want to watch Spinal Tap 2, but you haven't seen Spinal Tap. So we watched Spinal Tap because they're only an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then watched Spinal Tap 2. You know, it was reminded, of Spinal Tap when towards the end of the first one, and they do their like 5-minute free jazz odyssey. It's like fucking terrible. Have you seen Spinal Tap 2 yet?
No.
You have any interest or?
Well, I will watch it at some point, but it got a bit of a roasting, didn't it? It's worth it. There's a couple of cameos in it that are, I don't know if you know who's in it, but there's 2 cameos in particular that are fucking brilliant. Right. Okay.
And they're not even really cameos. They're in it for a while.
Right.
Just say 2 very famous musicians turn up and effectively play with tap. And it's brilliant. And my girlfriend was just like, who are these guys? How did they get X to be in this? I was like, Spinal Tap. And then the other one pops up and you're like, oh my God. Like, how the fuck did they manage this? So yeah, very, very good. But yeah, they're jazz odyssey. But yeah, not a fan of prog rock.
No.
Never mind. Okay, so won't be going to see any K-pop shows anytime soon. Have you seen anything else this week, my man?
No, that's all.
Okay, right. Well, before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today and our first review of 2026, let's have a little word from our sponsors.
Hello, Sarah. Sarah, hi! Sarah, hello. Come here often. Sarah, you look good tonight. I was just wondering if you're not doing anything on Saturday night, you could always... Sarah, I really like you. Sarah, I really fancy you, so how about that?
Okay, Greg, so it was your choice on the pod this week. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
So we're going to be talking about quite a recent Scottish drama. It was released on ITV last year in September, starring Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead and This Life and Teachers, amongst other things. Ewen Bremner from Trainspotting and various other bits and bobs. I'm going to hammer her name. Indira Varma and Eve Myles. And we're talking about Coldwater, the drama series that ITV put out last year. So Andrew Lincoln plays John, a middle-aged man who is sort of suffering from a bit of PTSD after witnessing a guy beating up a lady in a swing park in London. He's kind of racked with guilt because he didn't do anything to try and prevent it. So him and his wife and his little girl and his little boy have moved to the quiet Scottish village of Coldwater to get away from the busy, dangerous city of London. But when they meet their neighbours, Tommy and Rebecca, it turns out that Tommy, played by Ewen Bremner, is a wrong'un, which we'll get into. So, obviously, there's no point asking you if you had seen this before, because I remember we were talking about it when it was on and saying that we should cover it in the pod. So, what did you think of? What were your first impressions of Coldwater?
I really enjoyed it. I really did. I was initially confused because I remember seeing it advertised, but then in November, so I think this came out in like September last year.
Mid-September.
In November, there was a show being advertised on Channel 4, which stars Dougray Scott, Shirley Henderson, and Jamie Sives. And it's also a 6-part tense mystery thriller. And it's called Summer Water.
Right.
And I was like, fucking, they must have been raging when Coldwater came out like 2 months beforehand. It's like, oh, you bastard. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a very decent, like, kind of by the numbers style thriller, but it doesn't take itself seriously. There's a lot of humour in this, and a lot of intentional humour, and there's a lot of funny moments, but it's so fucking dark in places too. But I thought it was great. Like at times it's fucking ridiculous, but I think you need that, and it is part of it lends it because of the comedic element. But it had me engaged throughout. I thought there was some fantastic performances. Ewen Bremner is just having the time of his life in this. Andrew Lincoln's great, and yeah, I mean, Jonathan Watson is fucking brilliant as well. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, the first episode, I struggled a wee bit with it because I don't know if it was, I expected like a different tone to it, perhaps. Maybe that might be the reason. Or maybe it just takes that first episode to sort of settle into its own sort of rhythm. You know what I mean? But I was a bit like, I'm not sure if we're supposed to be taking this seriously or not. But then I think in the second episode, I think it finds its gear. You know what I mean? And it's 6 episodes. So 6 sort of 45, 50-minute episodes written by a celebrated TV writer and playwright David Ireland, who's not Scottish, but he is Irish. I wasn't, like when it get going, it was kind of it was compulsive, like I watched maybe 3 episodes back to back, just maybe like episodes, maybe the last 3 episodes. I think I watched them kind of in one go because it really kind of, the pace really picks up, and you sort of, I kind of found myself appreciating the kind of humour of it and the writer and the kind of, because like the one that the character in it who I think really epitomises that is Eve Myles' character, Rebecca. She is fucking hilarious. It's her face, it's her expressions when she's sort of signalling to Tommy or something happens. When the kids mention something that they're not supposed to know about or whatever, and you see she's kind of facing the camera and the person's behind her, and it's just the expression on her face. She's like, shit, and then her face changes completely, and she turns around. Oh, really? She's a brilliant character, Rebecca. I thought
there's the wonderful example of that, exactly as you described, and it sums up, is I think it's in episode 5 or maybe, and she comes in the front door, sees Tommy, and she's fucking raging about something because she's wanting to speak to him. And her face is thunder, and she's like, what did you... And then she turns, and the daughter, Moira Jane's behind her, and the face just drops into a big smile. Hello, love, how are you? Everything's great. It's, wonderful from Eve Myles. Same as you, I think we watched the first 2 episodes one day, and already I was kind of hooked, and I'm like, how can they spin another 4 episodes out of this? Like, it's because it seems like it's, goes at a hell of a pace. And then the next day we watched the final 4 episodes back to back, just watch the whole thing. And at the end of every episode, it's like, how are they going to get another couple of episodes out of this? It just seems like, but they manage it. And I didn't feel, maybe a couple of places slightly drag, but not to excess. Like I could have maybe done a little bit less of the sun, maybe Cameron. It was like overall, like I thought it was really good. And it really had me engaged and gripped. And I think you're right. It's about the tone because it starts off with a very fucking serious incident in the play park with a man assaulting his child and then kicking the shit out of a woman. And you're thinking, holy fuck, what a start. And then the opening credits, it's the theme tune is just a bit comical. And he's running from London to Coldwater. And you're like, is this like a farce or something? And it kind of is in ways.
It's sort of like, the credits are kind of like an old sort of 60s drama, like The Prisoner or The Fugitive or something like that, and
it definitely took me out a little bit whenever the opening credits started, and then the end credits as well. We'll come back to that. But it definitely, opening credits a little bit take me out. And then you're right, the first episode, it kind of is a bit like, okay. And I think it is when he goes to his therapist with Jonathan Watson, that's when you get the humour. And you're like, okay, is this where it's going? Because the whole scene about him, he's having a wank in the shower and to the MILF Fergie. Now, it's set in 2025 because we see on Angus's gravestone, 2025. People still wanking to Fergie? Like, surely, I mean, I guess, like, that was big for him back in the day. She hasn't been relevant for about 12 years. I just wonder, update your material a bit, John, or I don't know. I guess that's his comfort zone and where he's comfortable with. But yeah, for Jonathan Watson's character, Williams, to say, I thought you meant Sir Alex Ferguson.
Fergie? I was thinking about Fergie. Fergie, Fergie, she's a MILF pop singer, American.
Oh, God, right. For a second, I thought you meant Sir Alex Ferguson.
No, God. No.
You also could have meant the Duchess of York.
Sarah Ferguson, yeah, that would be...
Yep.
Quite an orgy.
MILF stands for... Mum, I'd like to fuck.
Yes.
Shall we talk about your mother?
I don't think we're there yet.
That was really good. I think before I want to talk about Jonathan Watson, but before I do, what a cast of Swally Favourites we've got in this. So we've got, apart from the 4 principals, Lorne MacDonald, who's a fairly recent favourite after being in Beats, is in the first couple of episodes. Then we've got Samuel Bottomley, who was in Get Juked, although he's not Scottish. No. Gilly Gilchrist. Oh. Sanjeev Kohli, Greg Hemphill, and Jonathan Watson. You know what I mean? There's like... And I don't think I'd seen her in anything before, but Abigail Laurie, who plays Moira Jane, she's also she's brilliant. So she's really, really good. But so before we started recording, we spoke about the Two Doors Down Christmas special that we watched, that we were talking about it. So obviously Jonathan Watson's one of the main characters in that. And now he's in this as the kind of timid psychiatrist, Williams. Jonathan Watson is a fucking chameleon. So he is. He's such a good actor. Because there is nothing like Williams and Colin and Frank from Bob Servant, that's probably like 3 big roles of his from the last sort of 15 or 20 years. He's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic actor. I mean, Greg Hemphill's good, but not sure he's really stretching himself that much. Sanjeev Kohli doesn't have a great deal to do. I'm not sure why they decided to call them Malky. You don't get many Scottish Pakistani guys called Malky. But anyway, that was the choice they made. But yeah, Watson is fucking fantastic in this, I think. He's so good. And he's not in it that much, but he's really, really good in it.
I think, I think we say this every time Jonathan Watson appears on the pod, that just what a great actor he is, and exactly as you say, a chameleon. Summed up for me on just after Christmas, sitting with my sister, and we watched the Two Doors Down Christmas special. It finished, and it popped up other things you might like to watch, and it was the City Lights Christmas special from 1988. Press play, and here's Jonathan Watson, nearly 40 years earlier, with his curly mop and his tash, and he's hardly fucking changed.
Yeah, he's not really.
He's just, it was incredible, and of course, Lacey Smith in it as well. It was brilliant. But he's just got a turn, and I was trying to think that funny enough, I'd written down here it's his range, and this character may be a little bit like Frank from Bob Servant in a way, because he's a bit kind of the more timid kind of guy, but he's also vocal as well. Like when he's in the pub and he's saying about John and Fiona are good people, and he's the one that kind of believes them. Yeah. And he's got some great funny lines, like when he's speaking to Tommy, he's like, do you think we could get maybe back into reading the Bible, Tommy? He's getting a bit fed up with these serial killer books. It's such a fucking, some of his lines is just wonderful when he's telling Tommy about the app that you could download to counselling. But yeah, the MILF, that line had me in stitches when he's like, oh, so MILF, that means mum I'd like to fuck. Shall we talk about your mother? It's seamless. It's wonderful.
It just feels like he's got a really good sense of the material, I think, the script, because that line that you just said there, it shouldn't really be funny. But he has made it funny. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a wee ad lib or something even as well, But it's interesting that the three actors that they've picked to play kind of Tommy's circle are all known for comedy.
Yeah.
I know Sanjeev Kohli just did the Department Q, which he was quite good in.
Black comedy, really. There's a lot of funny humour in that. And Kohli does and lend quite a lot of humour to that, I think. But you're right, they are all known for their comedic chops, and those scenes are funny. Like the hot tub scene is just fucking brilliant. And the young actor
who plays Brick,
that plays Brick, he's great. His line about how he can never be a Catholic because he loves riding lassies too much.
He says, because I like riding the lassies.
Malky's an atheist.
Aye, but I don't mind if that's what the group wants. Might be a nice wee change.
Well, Bobby's an atheist.
I'm not an atheist.
Yes, you are.
Not anymore. Started believing in God again.
Well, Brick is still an atheist.
I do think there probably is a God, but I could never be a Christian because I love pumping the lasses too much.
Pumping the lasses? You're a virgin.
No.
So this was a big deal, because apparently this was marked Andrew Lincoln's return to British television. So he's been since when did The Walking Dead start? 2010. So for the last 15 years or so, he's been in the US as part of this big franchise. And now he's back in the UK doing some British drama instead. But I wasn't sure about him at first in this. And I don't know if it's just, I think sometimes when an actor plays a character for such a long time and you only for whatever reason really see him in that time period in that programme playing that character, it sort of takes you out of it a little bit when he's back, he's doing his own accent, he's not doing his sort of Texan drawl, he's doing his own accent and everything, he's back in the UK. But as it goes on, the sort of his kind of emancipation, if you like, is, you know, when he sort of finds himself a little bit from being put into this fucking horrendous situation that he's found himself in the village of Coldwater, and being at the mercy of what he's soon to find out is a psychopathic serial killer. You know, like it's by the last episode, he's fucking really, really good.
Yeah,
really, really, really good in it. And you know, it's good to see him, because like obviously his character in The Walking Dead is heroic, hard guy. You know what I mean? And he's you know, his character in this, at least at the beginning, is about as far. The character of John is about as far from Rick Grimes as it's possible to get. He's you know, he's scared of his own shadow. He's terrified of confrontation. Although he finds himself in a lot in it, but he's sort of just trying to avoid all of any unpleasantness, any aggressive people and stuff. He can't sleep. He can't have sex with his wife. You know, and that it kind of turns out that there's other reasons for that. There's been infidelity in the past on her side. We find out later on and stuff, but they sort of figure it all out by the end. It was good to see him kind of back doing something different from the Walking Dead stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I do really like Andrew Lincoln. I've kind of, I say followed his career, but I watched This Life when it originally went out on BBC Two back in the mid-90s, and I must have watched that show maybe about 10 times, like all the way through. Like, I have the DVD box set. I fucking love This Life. And the character he plays in that, Egg, John, is what Egg would be like when he grows up. It's not a stretch for Andrew Lincoln, I think, in terms of the character.
Yeah.
And I loved him in Teachers as well. That was a fucking great show.
I really like it's one of the few programs that James Corden's been in that he hasn't ruined. It's Teachers.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, very true, actually, yeah. And Teachers just went off a cliff after Andrew Lincoln left. And I stuck with The Walking Dead till the bitter end. Like, I watched it from the beginning right through, and he was great in it. You're right. Yeah. I mean, of course, you did maybe, because you're so used to seeing him in that, you did maybe expect for him to run out into the garden at some point and shout for Carl, but unfortunately never did. I think he'll also be, because my girlfriend, she's like, where do I know him from? And I was like, well, The Walking Dead. She's like, no, I never watched that. And I was like, well, Love Actually. He's the guy with the signs of Keira Knightley. Oh, yeah, that's it. I'm like, yeah, so for a lot of people, that's who he maybe is, if you haven't seen The Walking Dead or Teachers or This Life. But I thought he was a really great casting in this. And the character progression, exactly as you say, he's spot on in terms of the nervous and anxious, and then kind of comes to himself. I did wonder, I have to say, like, because obviously it's a very traumatic incident he went through in the play park. Yeah. But part of me was waiting for some other reveal of some other past trauma or something that had happened, because it seemed a lot for just that incident. Is it the affair? I guess so, because it was his best mate. Yeah. But I kind of was waiting. And it makes sense, because in the beginning of the first episode, when he's in the play park, he seems distracted, and it seems like there's already something, but obviously it's the affair. Yeah. But it just seemed, I was waiting for some other big reveal of something else had happened previously, but no, nothing. But I guess that is enough trauma to add to and make sense, because he is kind of going about his life really, but just has this issues that gets to. And I guess obviously he's moved to Scotland, and right enough, his best mate's cheated on his wife, so he's lonely. He's got no friends that he can reach out to or talk to. So yeah, it's different. And you see that when he is in the pub with the guys, like, it's almost like it's a sense of belonging, and he's enjoying himself. And he says that to Fiona on the phone, like, you're telling me to go out and enjoy myself, and I'm enjoying myself for the first time in years.
He there's a lot of sort of exploring kind of masculinity with the character of John, because he's the sort of stay-at-home dad, while his wife Fiona is the one who's the main breadwinner. One of the first things I ever saw Andrew Lincoln in was a film called Boston Kickout. Did you ever see that? With
No, I don't think so.
It came out in 1995. It's him and John Sim, and it's about like kind of young guys who have just left school. It's set in Stevenage. It was quite a good film. It's got a decent cast. It's got good soundtracks. It's sort of all kind of early 90s kind of bangers, you know.
Okay.
But I'm looking at Andrew Lincoln's Wikipedia page at the moment. So Andrew Lincoln is married to a woman called Gail Anderson, right? Who's got a famous father. Her famous father is Ian Anderson, who played the flute and sung in the band Jethro Tull that we were just roasting.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Fucking hell. A small world.
Indeed. So, Andrew...
That's a good thing. Yeah. Oh, sorry. You're about to speak about his career. Because I was just away to say, you're saying about him being in the film with John Sim. And I'm like, oh, of course, he's in Human Traffic as well.
He's in Human Traffic as well, yeah.
Very briefly. It's the guy that John Sim's character, they meet in the pub and they're like, yeah, we don't like each other. We're never going to talk. How about we just move on and pretend we didn't? Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
That's right. Well, if you get a chance to see Boston Kickout, it's worth a watch. It's got Mark Warren's in it as well. And
I like Mark Warren. That's a great cast, actually.
Yeah. The guy who plays Charlie in EastEnders anyway. But so Andrew, John's wife. Fiona is played by Indira Varma, who people who watched Luther may remember her as Luther's spoilers, ill-fated wife. But she's been around for a while. The last thing I saw her in, well, I didn't really see her in, but she does the voice of Lady Frankenstein in James Gunn's Creature Commandos cartoon, right? Okay. Because he's... obviously, he's the new DC guy, which I know you're not a big cartoon guy, but I didn't even bother recommending it, but I enjoyed that. That was really good. It's Suicide Squad vibes, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, she's great. But I think so. Ewen Bremner, full disclosure, is not my favourite. In other things that I've seen him in over the years. I think he in some things like Trainspotting and the Alan McGee one, Creation Records one, I think he over eggs it a bit. I have to say in this, I think he's fucking brilliant. Yeah. He's absolutely fantastic in this. I think he plays the role of Tommy absolutely perfectly.
He just has this, it's an amazing quality, and he seems like a good guy early on, but you know there's something sinister about him, and you just think he's a church-going guy. Something's not right, though. And he's very nice. He's supportive to John. He prays with him. He's nice. And then this dark undertones revealed, and he's fucking brilliant at playing both sides and doing that. I'd actually written down that Tommy looks like a reform voter, and I think that sums up the character in a way. He's brilliant, and you can tell he's fucking having the time of his life doing this role and really enjoying it. It's something different. It's a chance to get away from Spud for a bit, and he can just really enjoy himself and go crazy and work with, three other fantastic actors that he is on a level with, exceeding them in this performance. The chemistry he has with Eve Myles as Rebecca is fantastic, and you really believe those two characters. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant in this. Absolutely fantastic.
He's really, really good. And I like what they've done with the character in the sense that so he's not like this sort of unstoppable kind of Michael Myers type serial killer. Like when him and John go around to Katrina's when they're looking for Cameron, and John goes in and she shuts the door on his fingers by accident. You know what I mean? The way he plays that, and the way that he that you get a sense that he hasn't thought of everything. There are moments when, especially in the last couple of episodes, when they're trying to catch him out and he seems one step ahead of them, but then there's loads of moments when he's on the back foot. Like when they find Nathan's body in the woods, and when he drops Angus's sort of upside down crucifix and Cameron finds it and all that kind of thing. It's just a really, really well written and well realised character, I think, Tommy. And I think it's pretty clear that we're going to get another series, I think, of this, right?
Well, that's one of my questions for towards the end of, if do you think there should be a second series or leave it there? But yeah, I suspect that they leave it open that there could be and would be possibly. The fact that everyone's still in Coldwater apart from Tommy and he's on the run. So yeah, I suspect there will be going into the history and things like that. You're right, though. He's not, this big kind of monster. He is, but yeah, he's flappable and prone to the odd mistake. And, you see him when he's following John around and stuff. And it does seem, you're right, like he's always one step ahead. But he obviously has, I think Rebecca's more a step ahead of him. She knows, and she can tell, like when he's in the garden with Harlequin, the cat, and about to strangle, and then the Rebecca comes out and she knows something's up, and she can tell what he's been up to and that something's happened. So yeah, I'd say she's one step ahead of him, really. So his killing kind of starts. John gets into a confrontation with Angus, who I wish there was more of Lauren MacDonald in this, but I know there couldn't be, but Angus just seemed like a fucking great character. I would love to have seen more of him. Probably just because I'd like to have seen more of Lauren MacDonald. But they get into a confrontation in the supermarket or the petrol station. Then later on, John goes out for a run, bumps into Angus. They have a bit of a fight. John hits Angus with a rock, thinks he's killed him, but doesn't, runs away, bumps into Tommy. Tommy goes and turns out Angus isn't dead. Kills Angus, puts him in his caravan, sets on fire. And that's how the chain of events starts. And he thinks that, John thinks he's in Tommy's debt. The reveal to Angus's dad, Nathan, before he kills him, for the reasoning, is that Angus said he looked stupid when he was 6. And I mean, that's a very funny moment. You're like, really? Is that the reason? Like, obviously Rebecca does say, or no, it's Cameron that does say, like, he always hated Angus because he came into church wearing the upside down crucifix. You get the impression he's always had a problem with this kid, and he's just taken this opportunity to kill him. Yeah. And is loved the fact that he's done it. And it's reignited his killer spark that we don't know how long that's been dormant for, because we know he's killed in the past, but we don't know how long he has been without a kill. But it kind of has reignited something in him. But yeah, I find that brilliant when he's telling Nathan that, he said I looked stupid and you didn't say anything to him.
Yeah, and he manages to kill Nathan by banging his head off the window a couple of times, then strangling him with a seatbelt.
I mean, that was a brutal kill. I knew Nathan was going to come to an end, but I didn't expect it to be like that. And yeah, it was brutal. Fantastic. Poor Gilly Gilchrist.
I know.
Never catches a break, does he?
No, it was good to see him in a fairly substantial role. I don't think we had him. It was in, I think the last one that we had him on where it was more than just an appearance was Stonemouth. Remember that one? Stonemouth? Ian, but he's a great actor, Gilly Gilchrist. Yeah. It's just a great name. He was always going to be an actor with a name like Gilly Gilchrist, or a footballer or something, right? He was never just going to be like a plumber.
He's kind of when he pops up, you're in safe hands. And, you're like, it's Gilly Gilchrist. He's going to be... Prior probably to this podcast, I'd imagine I'd have been like, it's that guy.
Yeah.
But obviously we've seen him in so many things. But he's just a good actor, a good safe pair of hands. And I think he plays the role of he's just lost his son and wants to know the truth. And he's heard that it wasn't an accident and John knows something. So he plays the kind of desperate father role really well. And the look in his face when Tommy is at his car and it's broken down and he knows he shouldn't be getting in that car with Tommy, but he just can't think of a reason. And you really feel for him at that point. Like he knows something's up and something's going to happen, but he just doesn't have any control over the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think by that time everybody's getting a bit of a sense of Tommy, right? Because even his pals are starting to... I think Bobby, played by Craig Hemphill, and Malky are starting to get a bit, because Tommy he's kind of unraveling a little bit, he's he's when he gets them all to go and sit in the hot tub and lets them borrow his trunks because he's got loads of pairs of trunks. But one of the best scenes in the whole series, I think, is the scene in the last episodes where John and Fiona invite Rebecca and Tommy for lunch, so they can try and find the trophy box. It's just the way it builds up, like with the sort of tension of it, and it's like Tommy and Rebecca know that John and Fiona are on to them, and John and Fiona obviously know everything that they need to know, and they're just trying to get proof, and yet they're trying to have this polite sort of kind of polite social occasion, and then John manages to slip away to go and try and find the trophy box, which that was the question, because the trophy box starts off in the shed, and they make much of the fact that Tommy's got this shed, and if you ever want to see your husband again, don't get him a shed. And then somehow, I don't remember when the trophy box moved from the shed into the garage.
Well, it's because Cameron had already been in the shed and found Angus's necklace, so he decides to move the trophy box to the garage, which isn't locked. So why not just change the combination on the shed and leave it in the shed? Or maybe they were moving it in case the police got involved or something. Yeah. So I presume that was the reason. But yeah, it's not really explained or gone into why it's now in the garage.
No.
I presumed that was the case for it, but it's not even very well hidden in the garage either, because Moira Jane finds it very easily.
Yeah.
And it's a good point, because you'd think, you're right, they make a big thing of Tommy's shed. When he sees John coming back from his run covered in blood, after he's just tried to fight with Angus, it's the garage that they're in when they're speaking. And I think, well, why not go to the shed? Like, it's the garage is attached to the house, but the shed is out in the garden. It would have made more sense if you're making this thing about the shed, but maybe he didn't want anyone else in his shed. I don't know.
Maybe that's his place. I thought when we saw inside the shed, there would be like obvious sort of serial killer signs in there, but apart from the little trophy box, it's just like a normal shed.
Yeah. It did, yeah. It seemed that way, yeah. I think you mentioned the lunch scene. One of my favourite scenes is the dinner scene with Jez and what's her name? Jez
and Pippa.
Pippa, that's it. When Tommy, Ewen Bremner, comes in, you must be Jez. And he says, no, Jez. And then you just see the turn in Tommy's character when he's alone with Jez and Pippa. And Jez, so have you always lived in Coldwater? And he's, mind your own business, you specky English prick. It's just...
So you were originally from Coldwater? Huh?
Mind your own business, you specky English prick.
There's no coming back from that, is there? No. This is the ultimate shutdown of not talking to you. Just a brilliant scene that just shows... you're kind of chilled when you know that Tommy's in the house listening to this conversation that they're having. And Fiona's calling him an obnoxious piece of shit. And then John's saying that he's just undereducated. And you're thinking, oh, God. And then he just appears.
Yeah.
And the next scene in the car with John, where he's like, John, you called me undereducated. I've read Nietzsche. I fucking love Nietzsche. And it's Tommy's genuinely hurt. The fact that he's been called undereducated. At one point later on, I think Rebecca and the woman from the pub are speaking and gossiping, and they're saying, oh yeah, he called Tommy undereducated. So this is a big thing.
Yeah.
It's really upset Tommy. So, and I think that's how they find out later on. That's how to get to him, by pushing his buttons. When Fiona's saying the killer was obviously a bit stupid and careless, and he's thinking they don't know that it's him. But that's how they obviously discover that they know. Yeah, really pushing his buttons is not the good way to go.
The characters of Jez and Pippa are interesting because I couldn't work out if they're supposed to be a sort of a kind of parody of middle class English people, or is that, are they how David Ireland sees English middle class people? Because they're very kind of, they've just gone vegan and this and that and all this sort of stuff, and like they're sort of, even John is kind of, he's just sort of getting slowly pished on whiskey. sort of to kind of numb them out a bit. But I thought it was interesting. Even the names like Pippa and Jez. Yeah. I thought is David Ireland's maybe got his tongue in his cheek here, making fun of people like that, or is that how he actually sees that kind of class of person?
I think it's summed up as well. You're right in terms of Tommy's line when he's speaking to Rebecca about, I'll get John to come to Katrina's with me when they're looking for Cameron. And Rebecca says, well, but he's got people round, And Tommy says, well, what would you rather do? Come with me or eat moussaka with Pippa and Jez? And it just, that sums it. You're right. I think that is how David Ireland sees middle-class English people. It really is. But you're right. They're really fucking annoying. And, they're vegan and banging on about that and how they could never go hunting. And it's lovely when John's like, I live in Scotland now. I drink whiskey and go hunting. And that's what I do.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is, John ends up in the pub. So he ends up kind of being sort of kidnapped kind of by Bobby and Tommy and kind of taken hunting against his will and then taken to the pub where he gets smashed. And so he stays out all night. He doesn't cheat on his wife, although it's not for the want of trying. He was too pissed. And comes back the next day. So he's got a fucking massive hangover and he goes for a run. Fuck that. Would not be doing any. If I had drank as much whiskey as John appears to have drank, I would not be moving for most of the next day.
Well, I'll sort you right out, my man. A good run, and that'll sort you right out. That'll shift the hangover, I'll tell you that.
Just sweating single malt out your pores.
I think that John and Fiona, though, as a couple, they obviously towards the end they've bonded, everything's kind of great, says they've made their marriage stronger. First couple of episodes, they're fucking horrible to each other.
Yeah.
And there's a point that you're just like, why on earth are you two still together? I think it's the first episode. It's before John goes out and has the fight with Angus. They're in bed and aborted attempt at sex. And when he says that like her cookbook, as she calls it, might fail because she's not a literary talent. And she's really offended. It's horrible to say that. And then she, comes back with, oh, well, you might abandon Violet in the play park again. Like, they're really nasty to each other and horrible. But I guess they're working out issues in terms of her affair and stuff and his trauma. And there's a lot to unpack. But there's times it's just, they're awful people. But towards the end, they're like happy families again. Everything's okay.
Yeah, I think it's quite rewarding, the fact that it's quite a rewarding part of the script that they sort of come back from the brink, So their marriage has come back from the brink. John's he seems to have got out of this funk that he's in at the beginning of when we first meet the characters. And then he's reading the story of Jonah in the Bible group at the end with Bobby and Malky and Brick and Williams. They sort of delivered from the darkness. He's had to go through this sort of ordeal to kind of find himself again. I thought that was maybe a wee bit on the nose, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just at the very end, it seemed a wee bit on the nose. But obviously, Rebecca's, she completely fucking gives Tommy up to Fiona when she realises that the game is up, and she still wants them to have the Bible group in her house, even though because Bobby says it kind of gives her comfort, like having us here doing the Bible group and everything. Whereas she's at the very at the very least, she's an accessory to all of Tommy's dastardly dealings, and we learn has been for a long time, which is why I think that they'll do another series of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she's keeping them there to keep an eye on them. You obviously have Cameron refusing to believe his dad's a killer. Nathan's ring still hidden in the toy hamper.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's the kind of last shot. You see that still there. But as I say, Tommy's obviously been doing this for a long time. He killed, and they make a very, I clocked early on, but they make a big thing of banging you over the head with it later on that obviously Moira Jane is Susie Bissett's daughter. And that's why, she's adopted. That Tommy had obviously killed Susie Bissett because he has the SB thing in his
Yeah.
trophy box. And and obviously she bears a striking resemblance to her. So I presume that if there is a second series, it'll go into exploring that a bit more. I don't know if we'll have like flashback to that or what, hunting down Tommy. But yeah, it certainly seems that they've left it open. And I don't know if they should or if they should just leave it as it is. Because it was good, but I'm just not sure if it lends itself to a second series.
I think they have. I think because I don't think I think we've spoken about this before. There seems to be a real reluctance to kind of let the baddies get away with things. You know what I mean? So I'm watching. I don't know if you've watched it. I'm really enjoying it. Yellowstone with Kevin Costner. I really like it. I think it's really, really good. Now, Costner and his family are the protagonists, but they're not kind of good people. You know what I mean? Really. They're complicated characters. It's a bit like The Sopranos. You know what I mean? Okay. Where, in that sense, sort of ethically, morally, etc. There's a lot of it's quite questionable. A lot of what they do is very questionable. But again, it's a bit like Succession as well. You know what I mean? Like all those characters in Succession, apart from Greg, there's not a lot of sort of redeeming qualities about them, but you kind of get behind them. But even in Succession, they all kind of get a bit of a comeuppance. Do you know what I mean? And I think these days, I don't think you could have finished The Sopranos the way The Sopranos finished if it was written in the 2020s. I don't think you'd have got away with it. I think they would have had to have had some kind of resolution, and I think that's the case with this. I think Tommy has got away. He's in the wind. They're looking for him, and Rebecca has got away with her part in it all as well. And even sort of. There's something a little bit when we see John and Fiona being interviewed at the end. We learn her book has been really successful, and they're talking about what's happened. There's the way they're talking to the cameras. There's something a bit insincere about it, So I think like an audience, like a modern audience, is going to want to see what happens to all four of those characters, and especially Tommy and Rebecca, because I think people will feel that they have to be caught or punished. So I'd be very surprised if we don't get another series. I haven't seen anything that suggests they're going to do another series, but I think they will.
Another character who meets a grisly end is Harlequin, the cat. Now, I'm not a fan of cats, although my sister has one, which I do very much like. I'm not allergic to her, and we get on very well. Would Harlequin go back to Tommy again after he tried to strangle him the first time? I just can't see that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, that was a bit of a liberty. I think that I don't think he would have gone back over. And I know you're not a fan of cats, but I don't like it when animals get killed and things, especially family pets.
Oh God, no! I hated seeing that. It was horrible. Not nice at all. To come back, you were saying, of course, Rebecca's kind of got away with things. Tommy's on the run. Would John be cleared of everything? Because he assaulted Angus. Obviously, we know, I'm sure they proved that Tommy killed him, but he still knew about him covering it up. He's still an accessory to the murder, and I just can't see him being completely cleared of everything. Unless...
No, I don't. I think so. That's what I mean. I think he's gotten away with stuff as well. I don't think it's. I think we're supposed to believe that because everyone knows now that Tommy's a baddie and a killer and stuff, that John is able to just completely exonerate himself in the eyes of everyone else. But I think he needs to. He needs a bit of karma for his part in it, because exactly as you say, he's assaulted somebody with a brick who he thought he killed. He didn't call an ambulance when he realised what he'd done, because we know that he didn't mean it. It was a kind of crime of passion, right? Because he managed to get the upper hand on Angus, but he hasn't done what he was supposed to do, which would have been to phone the police and get an ambulance and try and get Angus some help and stuff like that. The first thing he's done is run away again and go to his recently met new neighbour and ask for his help. So I think he needs to, and then he's made Fiona a bit of an accessory to that as well, right?
Yeah, he has, because she knew all about it as well. He's told her everything. So, yeah. And he wants to go to the police, and she says not to. So, yeah, I think... And, well, he does try, but then that's when they found Nathan's body.
I thought, when we see Katrina in Glasgow at the end, I thought we would see Tommy, like, in the background or something like that, you know?
Yeah, because he does seem like he has...
Hates her, right?
Yeah. There's a bit of unfinished business there, and we learned that he attacked her years ago. So, yeah, there's definitely some unfinished business that he wants to resolve there. Have you ever been befriended by a dark, sinister person that you shouldn't have been, or your wife disapproved of? I mean, obviously you knew me before you met her, so it's not me, but anything ever cropped up like that or anything?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like, I've definitely kept poor company in my life when I was younger. You know, you sort of would hang out with the bad kids and things, and or the bad relatives sometimes. In my case, yeah, I mean, I'm not, you know, I never last very long in those circles because too much of a fucking softie. Yeah. I'm much more like Joe. I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know, much more like John than I am like Tommy. What about you? Probably
no. Exactly the same as you. I think when I was younger, yeah, probably a couple of bad crowds, but never lasted long. Always knew, like, yeah, I'm not liking this, or
don't want to get in trouble, kind of, you know.
Yeah, basically, yeah, I know. So no, never, not that I can think of anything like that. I've always been quite quick to extinguish anything like that, or, you know, remove myself from any situation. So no.
My mum used to tell me that I had a guilty face. So like, you know, on the way, when we lived in Barrow and Furness, on the way home from school, we walked past newsagents, and my neighbour went to the same school, and so did a couple of other kids. So we tend to walk home together, and they would stop, and we'd stop at the shop, and sometimes be there for a while because it was a big newsagents, magazines, sweeties, everything else, and so I'd get home later than my mum had expected me to get home, and I remember that for the first time I did that, and she said, well, where have you been? And I said, oh, we stopped at the shop. And she said, well, why did you stop at the shop? You haven't got any money. And I said, no, I know. I said, but so-and-so had money. So we stopped. She said, well, I don't like to do that again, because if anybody's shoplifting, you'll get the blame because you've got a guilty face. So for years I grew up thinking that I had a guilty face, and I should stay away from trouble because it would just be assumed that I was involved because of my guilty face.
Yeah, you've got a very guilty face, Greg. You'll always be the one that gets into trouble with stuff like that.
Exactly.
Could you imagine being in a situation where you lie to your wife and you're trying to get the point across, and she says, don't gaslight me, and you turn to her and say, don't say gaslight, you're nearly 50. It's a fucking great line. But my God, what a brave man to say that in that moment.
I know. Like, she's the only person that he's brave with. Imagine.
It's about Katrina.
Katrina?
That night you went to the pub, you went back to her house.
What?
You were fucking that girl, and he was covering for
that's
you.
it. You've lost it. You've gone insane.
Don't gaslight me.
Oh, don't say gaslight. You're nearly 50.
I know you didn't stay over at Tommy's that night, so don't treat me like an idiot.
The thing that I hear a lot, because obviously, like, when we're young, we have our expressions and stuff and words and ways of speaking and things, and they change as the years go by. My daughters are teenagers, and I can't remember what it was, but my youngest daughter said, well, that person just thinks that she's the main character. You know what I mean? She was talking about somebody at school, you know, that showing off or something, and she was like, oh, she thinks she's the main character, you know. And since she said it, I've heard it a few times in other places, but yeah, she either she thinks she's the main character or main character energy there. It's like our mutual friend, for example, has always thought he's the fucking main character, right? Whatever he is, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's in the pub, whether it's on the bus on the way back from Amadeus. Speaking of Amadeus, there was a big article about Amadeus. I was reading it was Aberdeen Live, I think. They were sort of reminiscing about Amadeus. Good times.
Good times, Greg. Times a shag tag, which was spoken about here on the podcast a few times before. Yeah, Amadeus was great. It was just, we were lucky to be right in that right age at the right time. And, well, I wasn't, I was 17. But, yeah, that right kind of area and time for that. So, yeah, Amadeus was wonderful. Yeah.
Anyway, since we're talking about Amadeus, is it time to put Coldwater through our Swally Awards?
Yeah, I would say so, Greg. I mean, I really enjoyed Coldwater.
Yeah, I did.
It's one of those. It's funny. I thought like a lot of thrillers have a lot of cliches, and this does as well, but it didn't feel like cliches. You know, like we can't go to the police, or don't go in the garage, or don't go down that dark path, or what did you say that for? But it never felt like I was like, oh God, why has he done that? Or like when John's in the garage and Tommy's coming into the house, there's genuinely tension. You're like, fuck. Like, he's going to get caught, but you're like, oh fuck, how's he going to get out of this? And yeah, I thought it was a great show. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, thought it was a well worth a watch. So a great pick. But yeah, let's do the awards. What's first?
So our first award is the Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub. So there's only one pub, but it's an absolute belter.
Yes, the Horseshoes. What a cracker. Yeah, I'd love to go for a drink there. Fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's like a good night out. Next award then is our patron saint of the pods, James Cosmo Award, for being in everything Scottish. So quite a few to pick for here, but I think there's one clear winner, right?
I had two, but I mean, are you going down the Gilly Gilchrist route?
Yeah. He's Gilly Gilchrist is. There's an argument to say that he's a bit like what Cosmo was in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I had an honourable mention for Jonathan Watson because he is just in so much stuff, like you forget. But Gilly Gilchrist was the immediate name that I put down because he's just exactly as you say, he's a bit like Cosmo.
Yeah. Next then, we've not been able to do this one for a couple of episodes, but the Jake McQuillan Your Tease Out Award. Again, a few choices here, right?
Loads to choose from. What did you go for?
Well, I went for the bit when Katrina boots Tommy in the face. When he's attacking her in her flat, and she's sort of scrambling away across the floor, and he tries to pull her back by her legs, and she kind of kicks him square in the face with the sole of her foot. I like that one, but I mean, there's so many to pick for.
I like that we've both gone for female on male violence because I went with Fiona punching Tommy in the hot tub.
Oh, yeah.
She just walks up to him and lamps him. Fucking brilliant. But yeah, there's so many like explosive acts of violence. But that's the one I went for.
Next then, and again, we've not been able to do this one for a while, but the Ewan McGregor award for gratuitous nudity. I went for Andrew Lincoln's bare arse in the shower, having a wank.
Yep. Me too. Yep. Yeah, quite early on, but let's just get the nudity award straight out the way.
Well, the thing is, so the kids and my daughters and I were sitting about work. They're working their way through Parks and Recreation again, and I came in from playing paddle, and an episode was just finishing, and I said, "Oh, do you mind if I watch this thing I need to watch for the podcast?" And they're like, no. So they're under switches and stuff. So I put it on, and there's the first scene, obviously in the park, and then the next scene is John having a wank in the shower, and both daughters were like, "We're going upstairs." And I was like, okay. It's like, sorry, I had no idea. This is not what I expected so early on.
Like, Dad, what are you watching? Oh my God.
It's ITV, for goodness sake.
Why is Rick Grimes having a wank in the shower?
Next then is the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous language.
I was quite surprised that there's a few, but there's not a huge amount. The one that really made me laugh was Katrina when she says, "Do you think I want people to know I fucked some floppy old man with grey pubes?" It's just that made me laugh a lot, so I went with that. What about you?
Well, you've said it already. I went with mind your own business, you specky English twat. I know it's not the most sweary music, sweary, but just maybe because it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's also my archetypal Scots moment as well.
Mine too. Because Angus calls John a fucking English poof. And then Tommy calls Jess a specky English prick, and it's like, oh, okay. Just that's the way to insult. Just inserting the word English into it just lends a gravitas. So that's my archetypal Scottish moment too.
Yeah. And it's it can still be found in the small communities all over Scotland. And then last one then, Sean Connery Award. Who's the winner of Coldwater?
I think you said it early on as well, Greg. It's Ewen Bremner.
Ewen Bremner. I think Eve Myles gets runner-up for sure, but Ewen Bremner's brilliant.
He's just fantastic. Just the sinister edge, but then he flips and he's all smiley and happy. It's a wonderful performance. And as I say, I'm just so happy for him. I watched an interview with him with Eve Myles. They were on this morning, being interviewed by Kat and Ben, and they spoke about Coldwater for a few minutes, and then they just go on to speaking to him about Trainspotting.
Really?
They're saying how it's still, it'll be 30 years this year, how it's still just a cult film. Ben Shepherd was saying how his kids are, I think, like 16 and 15, and they've watched Trainspotting all the time. They just love it. And he said that there's still not a single day goes by if he's in the UK, someone doesn't shout Spud or Trainspotting related reference at him, and you're like, wow, 30 years, you're never going to shake that character, because it's just such a character to play, and so early on as well. He's just never going to escape that. But he's just amazing in this. So gone with Ewen Bremner.
I could do with people not saying about things being so old, like Trainspotting being 30 years old.
I know. It's fucking horrible, isn't it?
When Ghostbusters was on the TV over Christmas, and I caught the end of it, and I said to my wife, I saw this in the cinema almost 42 years ago with my dad. Like, for fuck's sake, that's a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
It's like my grandfather telling me he came back from the war 40 years ago in the early 80s. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, fucking hell. Anyway, well, if you want to watch Coldwater, it's on the BBC iPlayer. It's on quite a lot of other streamers around the world. They seem to have, what do they call it? Syndicated it. I was able to watch it on OSN here in the Middle East. It was on. I don't have to do any VPN trickery to see it. So by all means, give it a go. It's a good 6 episodes. Nice show fill up your watch list for the new year. But it was my choice, so that means the second episode of 2026. It's your picking. So what are we watching this week?
Well, Greg, I've picked a film that is 30 years old. Came out in 1996. So it's very fitting for what we've just been talking about. You're not going to like this, Greg. You're not going to like this one little bit. I know you're not, because it's been mentioned a couple of times in passing, and you've made your feelings about it quite clear.
Okay.
So I'll just get this out the way. On the next episode, we're heading up to Inverness as we join Ted Danson in his search for Nessie, as we look at the 1996 film Loch Ness, which I have never seen, so I've picked it because I want to watch it.
Fuck's sake. Okay. Well, it's I don't know if I've seen it. I might have seen bits of it if it's been on the TV over the years. But I don't know.
I think I've maybe seen bits on TV, but I don't know. It's the Scottish Free Willy. Come on. We've got to go Scottish.
Well, I watched one with the kids called The Water Horse, which is a kind of Loch Ness monster. It's basically the Loch Ness monster.
Okay.
I can't remember who was in it. I don't think anybody I recognised. Like years and years and years and years ago, before we did the podcast.
Okay.
But okay, oh well. I haven't watched Ted Danson or anything for a while, so...
That's one of the reasons I've picked it, because I just love Ted Danson.
I do. Yeah, me too.
He has a newish show that's on Netflix, which I haven't watched yet, but apparently it's great. So
the other place, is it, or no?
No, it's not The Good Place. No,
Good Place.
It's The Man Who Something. I don't know. We'll probably discuss it on the next episode of the podcast. But
Indeed.
Next episode, Loch Ness, coming on the Culture Swally. Well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our first proper episode of 2026. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can email us, cultureswally@gmail.com, with anything you've seen you'd like us to cover, any news stories, or if you just want to say hello, then drop us a line. And you'll find a link to that on our website as well, won't you, Greg?
You will. You can find us at cultureswally.com, links to all our socials and articles about Scottish TV and film. And I'm definitely going to try and get some more stuff on there this year. That's one of my not my New Year's resolution, because I think they're shit. It's one of my New Year's intentions. It's an intention, not a resolution. It's an intention. So I'm going to try and get some more stuff on there. And I think it would be remiss of us not to say thank you to everybody who supported us last year and before. We got a nice message from Henry in Canada. On Instagram, wishing us a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year over the festive period, which was nice. But yeah, thank you to everyone who downloads every couple of weeks and tunes in for our news stories about Asian guys masturbating in cars. They're not always Asian, by the way. It just so happened that on this episode they both were. We've had plenty of white Scots guys getting up to no good. That guy who claimed that there was a bee in the car or something. Remember that one years ago?
Yeah, he said he'd been stung on the end of his knob and he was checking it. Yeah, I remember that one very well. Fucking cracker.
That was a fact.
Yeah. Okay, well, wonderful. Right, till next time.
Yep, I'm away to play with my vape. So until next time.
You were nothing when I found you, John. You were so weak. It's me that turns you into a real man. Everything that you are now is because of me.